They laughed at the old fleet. Until human warships powered up, the human fleet arrived at the edge of known space in slow silence. Old ships moved in careful lines, their dark hulls marked by scars and faded paint. To many watching from far away, the fleet looked weak. It looked tired. Some ships even looked broken. Long antenna towers and thick armor plates showed designs from another age. These were not the smooth and shining ships the galaxy admired. Inside the great chamber of the Galactic Council, many leaders watched the feed with open laughter. Tall beings with silver skin leaned back in their seats. Others with glowing eyes whispered jokes to each other. They had expected something new, something dangerous. Instead, they saw relics. One council member spoke first. His voice echoed across the chamber. He said the humans must be desperate if they brought museum pieces to a council meeting. Another leader laughed and said the humans were brave to show such weakness in front of the Empire. More laughter followed. The mood was light. No one felt fear. Commander Jack Morris stood alone in a small viewing room aboard one of the human ships. He watched the same feed, but he did not smile or frown. His face was calm. His hands were behind his back. He had heard worse words before. Humans always had. Jack remembered stories from his early training. Humans were late to the stars. Other races had spread across space, while humans were still fighting wars on one planet. When humans finally reached the wider galaxy, they were pushed aside. They lost systems. They lost colonies. They lost people, but they learned. Across the fleet, Captain Lisa Brown stood on the bridge of her ship. The lights were low and the air smelled of metal and oil. Her ship was old, older than her, older than many of the crew. She placed her hand on the control rail and felt a soft vibration. The ship was awake, even if it looked asleep from the outside. Lisa listened as her crew spoke quietly. They heard the laughter too. News spread fast, even across light years. Some younger officers felt anger. Some felt shame. Lisa felt neither. She trusted the fleet. She trusted the plan. In a deep engineering section far below, Ethan Cole worked beside a sealed power unit. He wiped sweat from his face and checked his screen again. The readings were stable. Perfect. The core had not been fully active in years, but it was ready. He smiled to himself. The aliens had no idea what sat inside these ships. Ethan remembered his teacher from long ago, an old engineer who had worked on the fleet when it was first built. The man had said humans did not throw things away. They stored them. They fixed them. They waited. Ethan now understood what that meant. Back in the council chamber, the galactic leaders continued to talk. One suggested that humans were trying to scare them with numbers alone.
Another said humans were hiding behind old armor because they had no real weapons.
A few voices warned caution, but they were ignored. The Empire had crushed stronger fleets than this. A message was sent to the human fleet. It was short and cold. The council demanded that humans explain why they brought such outdated ships into protected space. The tone was mocking. The meaning was clear. Leave or be punished. The message reached Jack Morris moments later. He read it once, then twice. He did not reply. Instead, he sent a simple order across the fleet. Maintain position. Do not respond. Some officers questioned the silence. They wanted to speak. They wanted to defend human pride. Jack shook his head. He said words could wait. Actions were better. On another ship, Emma Ross sat at a sensor station. She was young, but sharp. Her eyes moved fast across data streams. She noticed small changes in the space around the fleet, faint signals, tiny movements far away. She frowned and adjusted her screen. Emma reported her findings to her superior. She said alien patrol ships were moving closer. The report went up the chain and reached Jack Morris. He nodded. This was expected. Far from the human fleet, alien patrol ships slipped through dark space. Their commanders were confident. They had orders to observe and test. A light strike, nothing serious. Just enough to make humans nervous. They believed the old ships would break under pressure. As the patrol ships drew closer, alien sensors scanned the human fleet. They saw rust, layered armor, and strange shapes. Their computers struggled to read some parts of the ships. The readings did not match modern standards. The aliens assumed the sensors were confused by old technology. One alien officer joked that the humans had built their ships from scrap. Another said the humans were lucky anyone even noticed them. They moved closer, ready to fire warning shots. Inside the human fleet, no alarms sounded. The ship stayed silent. Power levels remained low on the surface systems. To an outside viewer, nothing had changed. But inside, deep within the hulls, things began to shift. Hidden systems ran quiet checks. Long sealed circuits warmed slowly. Backup networks tested connections. Nothing flashy, nothing loud. Just careful preparation. Captain Lisa Brown watched her screens with calm focus. She trusted her crew. She trusted Commander Morris. She trusted the fleet's history. Humans had learned to survive by staying quiet until the right moment. She thought of stories from old wars. Times when humans faced stronger enemies. Times when defeat seemed certain. Humans had lost many battles, but they never forgot the lessons. Never show everything. Never fight on the enemy's terms. Ethan Cole received a soft signal on his panel. It was a status request from command. He sent back a single word. Ready. His heart beat faster, but his hands stayed steady. Emma Ross continued to track the alien ships. They were well within range now. She could see weapon systems charging. Her mouth felt dry. She reported again, her voice calm but firm. The alien patrol was preparing to fire. The information reached Jack Morris. He looked at the main display. The old ships floated like ghosts against the stars. He knew how they looked. He knew why the galaxy laughed. Jack allowed himself a small memory. His grandfather had served on one of these ships during a lost war. He had said the fleet was built with fear in mind. Fear of extinction. Fear of being alone. Fear of never getting a second chance. The alien patrol fired first. Bright energy bolts crossed the dark space and struck the outer hulls of the human ships. To the watching council, it looked like the beginning of the end. Some leaders leaned forward, eager to see the old fleet fall apart. The human ships rocked slightly. Armor absorbed the impact. Outer layers burned away just as designed. No explosions followed. No ships broke apart. Inside the fleet, shields that were never meant to be seen activated briefly, then faded again. They did their job and went quiet. The ships stayed in place. The alien patrol commanders stared at their screens. Their weapons had hit. They were sure of it. But the human ships still floated. No debris. No panic signals. They fired again, stronger this time. Again, the human fleet endured. Back in the council chamber, laughter began to fade. Some leaders exchanged uneasy looks. This was not expected. Old ships should not take this much damage. Jack Morris finally spoke. He gave a single command. Hold. The human fleet did not move. It did not answer the attack. It simply waited, silent and steady, like stone. And for the first time, the galaxy stopped laughing. The silence after the second attack felt heavy across space. The human fleet still did not move. Burn marks spread across old armor plates and small pieces of metal drifted away, but the ships stayed in formation. From far away, they still looked weak, still looked old. Butched inside the alien patrol ships, confusion spread. Their scanners showed damage, but not enough. The human ships should have cracked open by now. One alien commander ordered another volley. His voice sounded sharp, hiding his doubt. Before the order could be carried out, new readings appeared. Power levels inside the human fleet were rising, slowly but clearly. Not fast like panic. Not wild like fear. The increase was steady, controlled, and deep. The alien commander hesitated. He asked for guidance from higher command. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the leaders were no longer laughing. Some leaned closer to their screens. Others whispered to each other in low tones. The humans had not fired back. That worried them more than a quick response would have. One council leader suggested pulling the patrol back. Another said this was still nothing. Old ships could hide old tricks, but they would fail in the end. The Empire had pride. Pride pushed the decision forward. The order was given. Continue pressure. Inside the human fleet, Emma Ross watched the rising energy lines on her display. Her eyes widened slightly. This was beyond surface systems now. This was core-level power. She sent the data up the chain without comment. Jack Morris stood in the same quiet room. The floor vibrated under his boots, soft but constant. He felt the fleet waking fully now, not rushing, stretching, like something old and strong rising from sleep. He opened a private channel to Captain Lisa Brown. She answered at once. Her face appeared on the screen, calm and focused. Jack asked for a status report. Lisa said the ship was stable. Outer armor loss was within expected limits. Internal systems were green. Crew morale was steady. Jack nodded. He asked if she was ready. Lisa paused for half a second. Then she said yes. Deep inside her ship, sealed doors slid open for the first time in decades. Long weapon bays shifted, rails unlocked. Thick plates folded back with slow power. Nothing fired yet. Nothing glowed on the outside. Ethan Cole stood before the main power control. The final limiters were still locked. He had trained for this moment for years, but training could never match reality. His hands hovered over the panel. He remembered his teacher's voice again. Never rush old systems. Let them breathe. Ethan released the first limiter. Power surged deeper into the ship. Lights brightened. The hum became stronger. Not loud, but full. The ship felt alive around him. Across the fleet, the same steps happened in perfect timing. Each ship followed the same old pattern, written long ago. Humans had learned that chaos killed fleets. Order saved them. Outside, alien sensors began to scream warnings. Power readings jumped beyond expected ranges. These were not simple reactors. These were layered systems, hidden under older designs. The alien patrol finally pulled back, increasing distance. They kept firing long-range shots, but with less confidence now. They had wanted to scare humans. Instead, they had stirred something. Emma Ross noticed new contacts entering the area. Larger alien ships, not patrol craft anymore. Real warships. She swallowed and reported the update. Jack Morris listened, then gave another short order. He told the fleet to continue powering up. Phase 2. On Captain Lisa Brown's bridge, a soft tone sounded. Her crew looked up. They knew the signal. No one cheered. No one spoke. They simply worked. Navigation systems adjusted slightly. Ships shifted position by small degrees. To outsiders, it looked random. To humans, it was geometry. Old battle math designed to spread incoming fire and hide true strength. The alien fleet arrived in force. Sleek ships with shining hulls formed an attack line. They dwarfed the human ships in appearance. They broadcast a message filled with threats and demands. The message was ignored. The alien commander ordered a full strike. Energy beams and missiles filled the space between fleets. Light flashed like a storm. The human ships were hit again and again. Armor burned away in layers, just as planned. Outer hulls cracked and fell apart, revealing darker inner shells beneath. The council watched in tense silence. Some leaders believed this was finally the end. Others were no longer sure. Inside the human ships, shields rose higher this time. Still hidden, still quiet. They absorbed and bent energy in ways alien sensors could not read properly. Ethan Cole watched the power flow reach stable peak levels. He sent confirmation to command. The core was ready for sustained output. Captain Lisa Brown felt the ship settle into balance. She could sense it through the deck, under her boots. Her ship was no longer pretending to be weak. Jack Morris finally allowed himself to sit. He knew what came next. The galaxy always pushed until it learned. He opened a fleet-wide channel. He spoke calmly. He said all ships were authorized to activate visible systems. Defensive posture only. Across space, the human fleet changed. Old hulls shifted. Panels slid back. Hidden structures unfolded. Thick barrels extended from places that once looked solid. Engine vents opened wider, glowing faint blue. The change was slow enough for everyone to see. The alien fleet paused its attack for a moment. Their computers struggled to update threat profiles. The human ships no longer matched any known class. On the council screens, leaders leaned forward. Some stood. Shock spread across their faces. One whispered that the humans had lied. Another said humans had cheated. A third said nothing at all. The alien commander ordered fire again, but his voice shook. The human fleet still did not return fire. Instead, human ships accelerated. The movement was smooth and sudden. Old engines pushed ships forward faster than alien designs allowed. Human ships slid through incoming fire, turning and shifting with practiced ease. Emma Ross tracked the movement with wide eyes. She had trained on simulators, but this was different. This was history in motion. Alien targeting systems failed to keep up. Shots missed. Missiles lost lock. Captain Lisa Brown gave quiet commands. Her ship rolled and turned, placing itself between enemy fire and smaller human vessels. Formation shifted again, fluid and precise. Jack Morris watched it all unfold. This was not a show of anger. This was a lesson. The alien fleet began to take damage, not from weapons but from fear. Formation broke. Commands overlapped. Some ships pulled back without orders. Finally, Jack Morris sent a message. His face appeared on alien screens across the battlefield. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He said humans had come to the council in peace. He said humans had shown respect by restraint. He said the fleet was old because it had survived when newer fleets had failed. He warned that if the attack continued, humans would defend themselves fully. The message ended. The human fleet held position again. Engines stayed hot. Weapons stayed charged. The galaxy waited. And for the first time in a long time, the choice was no longer in alien hands. The space between the fleets felt tight, like a held breath. The alien ships stopped firing, but their weapons stayed charged. Human ships held their lines, engines glowing softly, weapons visible but silent. Stars watched without care. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, fear had replaced pride. Some leaders argued in low voices. Others stared at the screens, unable to look away. The human fleet no longer looked weak. It looked patient. The alien high command delayed its answer. Silence stretched. That silence made many nervous. Jack Morris waited. He did not rush. Humans had learned that waiting could be a weapon. On Captain Lisa Brown's bridge, time felt slow. Her crew stayed focused. Small adjustments were made to shields and power flow. No one spoke unless needed. Everyone understood the moment mattered. Emma Ross continued to track enemy movement. Alien ships were regrouping, but not cleanly. Their formation was loose now. Fear had cracked their discipline. She sent constant updates, her voice steady even as her heart raced. Ethan Cole watched the power core carefully. It ran hot but stable. The old systems were performing better than simulations had predicted. He felt pride, not in the machines alone, but in the people who built them long ago.
In the alien fleet, commanders argued.
Some wanted to pull back and report. Others demanded a full assault to crush the humans before it was too late. Pride fought fear. Pride often won. The final order came. The alien fleet surged forward. This time, it was not a warning. It was war. Weapons flared across space. Missiles spread like swarms. Energy beams cut bright lines through the dark. The attack was wide and brutal. Jack Morris gave a single command. Defensive phase complete. Return fire authorized. Across the human fleet, weapons powered fully for the first time in decades. Captain Lisa Brown felt the ship respond instantly. Targeting systems locked on with calm precision. Her voice stayed even as she gave the order to fire. Human weapons spoke. They did not roar wildly. They struck clean and sharp. Energy beams pierced alien shields at weak points calculated long ago. Kinetic rounds hit engines and weapon mounts instead of command cores. Alien ships began to fail. Some lost power. Some spun out of control. A few exploded when their own weapons overloaded. The council chamber erupted in noise. Leaders shouted. Some demanded retreat. Others accused humans of treachery. No one laughed now. Emma Ross watched enemy contacts vanish from her screen. She forced herself to breathe slowly. Training held. Panic stayed away. Human ships moved with purpose. They did not chase fleeing enemies blindly. They advanced in measured steps, always covering each other. Every movement had meaning. Ethan Cole received reports from across the fleet. Power use was high but within safe limits. Damage control teams worked smoothly. Losses were low. The alien fleet began to collapse. Their newer ships relied on speed and automation. When systems failed, crews froze. Humans had designed their fleet expecting failure. Every system had backups. Every crew knew how to fight in the dark. Captain Lisa Brown watched an alien cruiser drift powerless past her view screen. She felt no joy, only resolve. This was survival, not revenge. Jack Morris opened a channel again. He spoke to the alien commanders directly. He said the attack was over. He said any ship that powered down weapons would not be fired upon. He repeated the offer calmly. Some alien ships complied. Others tried to run. Human ships disabled them with precise strikes, cutting engines without destroying hulls. Escape routes closed quickly. The battle ended not with a final blast, but with silence. Debris floated between stars. Damaged alien ships drifted, powerless but intact. The human fleet held formation, weapons lowered, but ready. Inside the council chamber, no one spoke for a long time. One leader finally asked how this was possible, how old ships defeated a modern fleet. Another answered quietly. Humans did not replace things easily. They improved them. They learned from every loss. Jack Morris was invited to speak before the council. He stood tall on the projection screen. His uniform was plain, his expression calm. He said humans had come seeking recognition and peace. He said the fleet was old because humans could not afford waste. Every ship carried lessons paid for in blood. He said humans did not want empire. They wanted survival and respect. The council listened. Some leaders bowed their heads. Others looked away in shame. Captain Lisa Brown finally allowed herself to sit. The tension eased from her shoulders. Around her, crew members exchanged quiet looks of relief. No cheering, just shared understanding. Emma Ross leaned back for a moment, then returned to her station. There was still work to do. Damaged ships needed aid. Prisoners needed care. Ethan Cole shut down non-essential systems carefully. The old core deserved rest. It had earned it. Alien rescue signals began to appear. Jack Morris ordered assistance granted. Medical ships moved forward. Human crews helped alien survivors without question. This confused many watchers. They expected cruelty. They expected punishment. They got mercy. The council chamber filled again, but the tone had changed. Humans were no longer treated as weak outsiders. They were treated with caution, with respect. One leader asked what humans wanted now. Jack Morris answered simply, a place at the table, fair borders, no mockery, no threats. The council agreed to talks. As the human fleet slowly powered down, the old ships drifted once more, quiet and patient. They had proven their worth without shouting. Captain Lisa Brown looked out at the stars. She thought of those who built the fleet, those who died believing this moment might come someday. Emma Ross saved the final battle data. History would remember this day. Ethan Cole rested his hands on the control panel one last time and smiled. The galaxy had learned something important. Humans did not fade with age. They endured. The days after the battle passed slowly. Space around the fleet stayed calm, but the feeling of change spread everywhere. Word of what happened moved faster than any ship. Systems far away replayed the images again and again. Old human ships standing firm, new alien warships drifting powerless. The Galactic Council called for an emergency session. This time, there was no laughter, no mocking voices. Security around the chamber doubled. Guards watched every screen with care. Jack Morris entered the council meeting through a full projection link. He stood straight, hands behind his back. He did not look proud. He looked tired but steady. Around him, council members appeared one by one. Some avoided his eyes. Others studied him closely, trying to understand how humans had changed the balance of power in a single day. The council leader spoke first. His voice was controlled, but not strong. He said the council recognized human strength and endurance. He said mistakes were made. He asked what humans wanted next. Jack answered slowly. He said humans wanted peace, backed by fairness. He said humans wanted borders respected and trade treated equally. He said humans would not accept mockery or threats again. The chamber stayed silent. Finally, the council leader agreed. Talks would begin. The Empire would pull its fleets back. Human space would be recognized as protected. For the first time, humans were not asking. They were being answered. Back among the ships, Captain Lisa Brown supervised repairs. Her ship bore deep scars now. Armor plates were missing. Hull lines were blackened. But the core systems were strong. Crew members moved with purpose. They joked quietly, not in celebration, but in relief. Many had expected to die. Instead, they had shown the galaxy who humans really were. Lisa walked through the corridors, touching the walls as she passed. This ship had saved lives again. She felt respect, not just as a captain, but as a guardian of something older than herself. In the medical bays of other ships, human doctors worked beside alien survivors. There was tension at first. Fear. But pain was the same in every species. Help slowly broke down walls. Emma Ross helped coordinate rescue paths. Her screens were filled with blinking icons, but the chaos of battle was gone. Now there was order again. She received a message from command. She was being recommended for promotion. Emma read it, then set it aside. Titles could wait.
She wanted to finish the job first. Ethan Cole stood in the engine room watching systems cool down.
The core hummed softly, like it was content. He ran a final check and logged the data. He thought of his teacher again. The old man had said these ships would matter one day. Ethan wished he could tell him he was right. Far away, alien governments struggled to respond. Some called humans a threat, others called them a balance. Many quietly adjusted their military plans. Older races remembered a truth they had forgotten. Strength was not always shiny and new. As talks continued, the human fleet stayed nearby. Not as a threat, but as a reminder. The old ships did not leave right away. They waited. Jack Morris spent long hours in negotiation rooms. Alien diplomats tested words carefully now. They no longer spoke down to humans. Every sentence carried weight. One alien delegate asked why humans kept such old ships. Why not build new ones after gaining power?
Jack answered honestly.
He said humans remembered where they came from. He said every scar on the fleet was a lesson. New ships would come, but the old ones would never be forgotten. The delegate nodded slowly. For the first time, he seemed to understand. Weeks passed. Agreements were signed. Trade routes opened. Borders were marked. Human space stations received visitors without fear. The Galactic Council officially recognized humanity as a major power. When the announcement went out, there were no cheers in the fleet, only quiet acknowledgement. Captain Lisa Brown received final orders. The fleet would return home. As engines powered for long travel, ships moved into formation one last time. Burned hulls caught the light of distant stars. Emma Ross stood at her station, watching the stars shift as the fleet prepared to jump. She felt different now, stronger, not because of victory, but because of certainty. Ethan Cole secured the engine room and took one last look at the core. It would rest again, silent until needed. He placed a hand on the panel and whispered thanks. Jack Morris watched the fleet from his command room. He thought of the future. New alliances. New threats. Humanity would face them all. The jump command was given. Space spent. Light stretched. The old fleet vanished together, leaving empty space behind. Back on the council world, silence followed. The galaxy felt larger now, less certain, more careful. Stories began to spread. Children of many species would hear them. Stories of humans who looked weak but were not. Stories of ships that waited instead of shouting. Time passed. Years later, a new fleet would rise beside the old one. Sleeker ships, stronger engines. But the old fleet would still be there, floating quietly, watching. They would never need to prove themselves again. Because the galaxy would remember. They laughed at the old fleet once. They never laughed again.